check out our streaming schedule for this week. We've got tons of content in terms of the NFL and college football, as we're going live just about every single day this week. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single moment where we go live. And now, on with our feature presentation. January 9th, 2000. It's the wildcard round. And as we're in Y2K, we've got a battle on our hands of the Metrodome between the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings for the right to move on to the divisional round. For the Cowboys, as in the main team in our story, this has been an incredibly tumultuous season. After starting the season 3-0 and looking pretty good, they enter the postseason as one of the coldest teams in football, finding themselves at 8-8, with losses in 2 of their last 3, 3 of their last 5, and 4 of their last 7. Most years, 8-8 isn't good enough to make it into the playoffs, but the NFC was so bad at the bottom that mediocrity was more than acceptable. Still, against a red-hot Vikings team that had won 8 of its last 10 games and entered the playoffs on a 3-game winning streak, the Cowboys would have to be better than mediocre. A lot better than mediocre. They would need to play a good game and avoid doing stupid things, which, yeah, we'll get to that. But before I talk about that, if you want to learn more about some other really stupid things that have gone on during the postseason, then this is the place for you, because we talk about all things NFL history all the time with a new video and a new live stream every single day. So if you like that sort of stuff, then be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we post on the channel. Thanks in advance for your support as we try and hit 70,000 subscribers. As for how the game was going, the Cowboys find themselves down 17-10, looking for some momentum going into the halftime break, especially seeing as the Vikings were getting the ball to start the second half. It'll be tough, seeing as they have no timeouts left, but it's doable. On the first play of the drive, future Hall of Fame quarterback Troy Aikman hits Rocket Ismail for a gain of 13, getting the Cowboys to midfield. So far, so good. And 2 plays later, when Aikman hits his 1,000-yard receiver once again, Ismail, for a gain of 10, the Cowboys have a new set of downs to the 40-yard line and 8 seconds left. They have time for another play. They have time for one more play to get a little bit closer and try the field goal and go into the half only down by 4 points instead of 7. You know what you've got to do. Quick play to the sidelines or something along those lines, just like the last few plays that worked out well for you. So, come on, Cowboys. Let's see what you've got. You're kicking the field goal with 8 seconds left. Instead of running another play, you're going to kick it from that far out and give the ball back to the Vikings with time for them to do something potentially? But why are you kicking the field goal? Why are you possibly kicking the field goal?
58 yards this would have to be. Cohen got it there, but not good.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something that looked bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something that looked awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this could possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Dallas Cowboys head coach Chan Gailey. There is no denying who the worst head coach in the history of the Dallas Cowboys was. It's Dave Campo, and there is no close second. And you can learn more about just how bad he was by clicking the card in the upper right corner. However, the undisputed second worst coach of all time has to be Chan Gailey. Usually, if a coach makes the playoffs and gets fired, it's the wrong move. And you would think that it's a massive overreaction on the part of ownership. That's doubly true if the man coached 2 seasons and made it to the playoffs both years. However, I am willing to make an exception for Chan Gailey, because he truly was that bad. And I don't know what the bigger mystery is. This, or the fact that the Buffalo Bills decided 1 decade later that Gailey deserved a second chance at running a team. So that being said, let's take a look at why trying a 57-yard field goal on first down with 8 seconds left in the first half is a really bad idea. And if you're thinking, come on, this is a massive overreaction on your end, and nothing that you say here can make me think you're not just trying to rag on a coach for the sake of ragging on a coach, I promise you, This decision gets even stupider and stupider the more you think about it and the more information you realize about it. If this was fourth down, by all means, try the kick. But this is first down. You have 8 seconds left. You have plenty of time to get closer. You have plenty of time to make this a way more makeable field goal, especially seeing as 57 yards is not only a long kick by today's standards, but was especially long by 1999 standards. In fact, it was almost impossible. The longest kick during the 1999 season was from 55 yards out, and that was by Jason Elam during a game between the Denver Broncos and the San Diego Chargers. That was quite literally the only kick from 55 plus yards that was successful in 1999, as the second longest kick was 53 yards. Kickers were hitting roughly 48% in 1999 from 50 plus yards, and most of those kicks were in that 50 to 52 yard range, not from 57 yards out where, again, not a single field goal was made across the 248 regular season games played and the 2 playoff games held up until that point. In other words, looking at this from a lens 25 years later, this is like trying a 64-yard field goal with 8 seconds left. Now, if there were 4 seconds left, again, try the field goal. You don't really have anything to lose if your kicker can reach it. But with 8 seconds, why can't you call an out route or a quick play of the sidelines? Why not try and get a couple of yards closer? You don't really have anything to lose. It's not like you're going to run out of time. Heck, literally the most recent play you ran was an out route that only took 4 seconds off the clock. Outside of the usual risk like an interception or a fumble, which I'm not sure you're in a position to play scared, considering the alternative is that you walk away from this drive with 0 points, you don't really have anything to lose by trying to get closer, because it's not like you have any chance of scoring anyways from 57 yards out on a field goal. Something to the sideline to get closer is also a smart play, because it ensures the fact that your field goal attempt will be the final play of the half. If you kick the field goal with 8 seconds left, guess what? The Vikings get the ball back. Now, if you make the field goal, the Vikings can return the kick and do something there, however unlikely that is. However, if you miss the kick, the Vikings are near midfield and are in Hail Mary range with Jeff George at quarterback, as in a man with arguably the strongest arm in NFL history, and Randy Moss at wide receiver, as in a man who is known for high pointing the ball and leaping over people to the point where there's a whole verb named after him. You're playing with fire is all I'm saying, because you've got a quarterback on the other side who can reach the end zone with ease, and you've got a wide receiver who makes catching the football look effortless and like an art. So even if you don't complete the pass and get closer, at least you don't have to give the ball back to the Vikings. At least you don't give the Vikings a chance to increase their lead and make your deficit more insurmountable. So, okay, it's pretty stupid so far for the man you've been watching this whole time, Cowboys head coach Chan Gailey, to try the field goal with 8 seconds left. But it gets even stupider when you realize the man who is going to kick this field goal. Because instead of trying an out route to get closer with plenty of time, they were relying on this man right here, their kicker, Toby Gowen, to make the 57-yard kick. And with that, I want to present to you a film that I've been working on for a long time. I present to you my magnum opus that I hope is not too late to submit for your Oscar consideration. Move over, Wicked. This is the feature film of the year. I'm giving it to you for free on YouTube because I'm a super generous person. I present to you every Toby Gowen field goal ever made. Enjoy. That's right. The man had made 0, count them, 0 field goals over his entire career. The man was a punter. And yes, he did kick the ball off for kickoffs off a tee. But in terms of field goals, the man had hit none in his career and would end his roughly decade-long career in the NFL hitting, you guessed it, 0 field goals. So instead of trying an out route with a Hall of Fame quarterback in Troy Aikman and a very good receiver in Rocket Ismail, or something along those lines, this genius, Chan freaking Gailey, thought that the Cowboys had a better chance at scoring from 57 yards out with their punter at kicker, who hadn't made a field goal in his career and hadn't made a field goal since at least high school. Because that makes sense. That makes freaking sense. Swap the Cowboys out for the Kansas City Chiefs and make it so that instead of trying an out route with Patrick Mahomes to DeAndre Hopkins or some play of the sidelines like that, they line up for a 64-yard field goal with Justin Reed. See how stupid that is? Because that's what the Cowboys did here. But hold on, because it gets even worse. Because the Cowboys actually had a kicker on their team in the 43-year-old Eddie Murray. He was relatively cooked by this point. He had a very weak leg, but they did have a kicker, and he would have been kicking in a dome, so the perfect conditions and the perfect climate for any kicker to thrive in. And at one point during the game, the Cowboys had a chance to line up for a 52-yard field goal, and they bypassed the attempt to punt the ball away, which resulted in a touchback. Because as this man right here, Chan Gailey, said on that move, I didn't think we could make it. Seriously, I didn't think we could make it. So let me get this straight. You bypassed an attempt from 52 because that's almost impossible to make in your eyes. Yet from 57 yards out, with your punter, who hadn't made a single field goal in his career and was not a kicker, you're giving the go-ahead, even though you could have gotten it closer and had it been a more manageable kick. How does that make any sense? Seriously, someone explain to me how that makes any sense. Imagine if, in golf, you have a chance to drive a green on a 300-yard par 4, and you decide to lay up because you don't think you can make it. However, on a 330-yard par 4, with the same elevation and with a giant water trap for the final 150 yards before the green, you decide to try driving the green, and you do it with a club that you've never driven the green with before. There is no logic there, and there was no logic with whatever Chan Gailey was doing. Some might say it's harsh to fire a coach after making the playoffs twice in 2 tries, but when your coach is this bumbling moron, yeah, I've got no problem with it. And what's crazy about the game between these two teams behind me right here is that this isn't even the only end of the first half gaffe that Chan Gailey made during that 1999 season with the Cowboys. During week 2, in a game against the Atlanta Falcons, Gailey had a chance to line up for a free kick after a fair catch off a punt with no time left in the first half. He had every opportunity to do so. Instead, he decided to go into the half and not take the free chance of getting points, even though it would come with no risk whatsoever. You can learn more about that blunder by clicking the card in the upper right corner. Chan Gailey had no situational awareness whatsoever. It was one of his major downfalls with the Cowboys, and this could have been the straw that broke the camel's back, because this was not a well-coached game, and of the many blunders that he made during this wildcard game against the Vikings and during the 1999 season, this has to be up there with one of the biggest of the bunch. So what did we learn from all of this? If you have a chance to get closer, and there's no risk to doing so, and you need to get closer in order to have any chance at scoring, then get closer! It's always important to be mindful of the clock, and there's no reason to give the ball back to the other team when you literally do not have to. If you've got 2 options, and one option is a low-risk play that increases your chances at scoring, and the other option is a play that has a 0% chance at working and increases the chances for the other team to score, then you've got to be really freaking stupid to take the second option. If you're bypassing a chance to get closer with plenty of time on the clock because you want to try a field goal with a man who's never made a field goal, who's not even a kicker, and try from a distance that no kicker had even made before throughout the entire season because it's that long, then you need to reevaluate how you coach the game. And if you have no idea how to manage an end-of-half situation in the playoffs, you're going to find yourself in some really hot water, especially if you're doing it with America's team. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Be sure to like and subscribe if you have not done so already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And check out my other channels, JG8 for the history of college football, JG7 for the history of baseball, and JG9 News, where we talk about all things happening in the NFL. Join me every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll play live NFL trivia for cash prizes. and make sure to join me live as we're on stream just about every single day. And thanks to all our Patreon members and our YouTube members for helping out the channel. See how you become a member and show your support financially in the description down below.